So, good news, Goblin Slayer's back. Bad news is there's no Ruby for the week. Hey, you win some, you lose some. So without further ado, let's get into the review of Goblin Slayer, episode 11. We are rising towards the final grand finale of Goblin Slayer. And speaking of the last two episodes, I realized something. Going back into the manga, I have not read the light novels, but I do know in the manga that originally the battle that's happening right now happened earlier within the story. So I guess Studio White Fox wanted to have a bigger climax ending to help things out. Because how I saw it when it came to the manga, right after they went to the Holy Capital and came back, they were able to have this festival and he was able to go on a date with one of the guild members, something like that. So I'm kind of glad they did this to give a more impactful finale the way it is. And I've seen a lot of animes do this before when it came to adaptations, where they'll take certain parts of the manga or light novel and they would put it towards the end to give it some justification, to give it a bigger impact. So instead of giving this, it's like this. Would you prefer a very mellow impact to a show, or would you like a bigger impact with probably some cliffhangers or a nice epic battle towards the end? So I saw what White Fox was trying to do, so in a way, I'm okay with this. I'm not completely mad. Some people spotted out like I did, and some did way before I did. It's been a while since I read the manga of Goblin Slayer, and I should read the light novel so I get a better understanding of it. But besides that, I was okay with this. This, like I said, Goblin Slayer don't have a lot of substance to it. It's just made to entertain you. That's the main point of Goblin Slayer. It's not any philosophical thing or anything like that. It's just, you got these characters, they're in a situation, and you see how they work their way out of the situation. That's the main point of Goblin Slayer, in my opinion anyways. So, after from last episode, where he realized that an army was out there, he, of course, wanted his childhood friend to leave the place. But of course, she refused to. She doesn't want to leave him or fight it by himself. Now, the way he said this was very interesting. He said that he could easily kill hundreds of goblins if it was inside a cave. When you're inside a cave and compared to outside fields, it's completely different. One, you don't have everywhere to go into a cave. You know preparations what to do when you're inside of the cave. You can cause traps, you can hear echoes, it's easier to hear your opponent coming. And for someone like Goblin Slayer being a one-man army against a bunch of people, of course it would be easy to kill a bunch of goblins in the cave. They don't see him coming. However, when it comes to outside, that's completely different. Outside, there's so much field, so much space, you can't hear your opponent coming. They can be anywhere within the field, and you don't know where they're going to come or where they're going to strike. So therefore, it's a lot more difficult to handle your opponent outside when it comes to a cave. I like how he stated that. Like, he had extra goblins killing goblins in the cave. But outside field, it's a completely different story. This is where he knew he needed help. And of course, they do the average thing you've mostly seen in these movies or TV shows where a guy who usually don't associate himself with everybody, but now danger's coming, he wants to reunite everyone under the sun, mainly under the guild. Being said, the characters we all knew there, the Lancer, the Witch, the newbies, the Royal Knights, and all that stuff, and a bunch of other veteran adventurers coming together. Of course, seeing this through an adventurer's perspective, not a citizen's, but an adventurer's perspective, why would they go to the trouble of doing this? The thing was that the goblins were going to take Goblin Slayer's area and use it as a strong advantage field to take over the town. Bit by bit, simple war strategy. But however, to an adventurer who has really no true ties to the town, wouldn't really care. Goblins are beneath them. So of course, first hearing this, they're like, who cares, man, they're gross. I want to do a goblin, do it yourself. Then they heard of the hundreds of goblins, along with a goblin lord. Better than a goblin leader. The goblin lord is someone with extreme intelligence and power. They're like goblin champions, but they're stronger and they're smarter as well. So they adapt quickly and they tell the other goblins on how to do things. Okay, to have that being said, still Avengers won't do it without any compensation. But however, seeing how just to do it out of goodness sake, to do this out of goodness sake is the best way to do it. Sure, if you don't get adventure, but however the guild did supply one golden coin for each goblin you slay, which is a good deal in their world. So yeah, good deal. Plus, Goblin Slayer will give you a drink at the end of the slaying. So everyone came together. It was the typical thing that happens where everyone's giving like, why should we help you and stuff like that, until a nice, noble little speech. Well, no speech was made. It was just a very guy who was usually never really asked for help, coming to help for the very first time in a desperate situation. Of course, it will make you wanna, okay, I'll help you out. A nice situation going on there. So seeing everyone gather together did get me a little hyped. Despite how outplayed this scene has been in so many movies and shows and video games, I still enjoy it. It's one of the few cliches I do enjoy within the media of entertainment. So I was okay with that. Now going on with the battle. They knew they were outnumbered, so in Tactical War 101, how do you deal with an army that outnumbers yours? First of all, it's simple strategy. Long range distance guerrilla warfare. And that is by setting up ambushes, traps, and long range offensive techniques. Bows and arrows, long spears, traps. They're even doing sleeping spells. And the goblins, by the way, were having victims on their shields, victims that they have kidnapped on their shields. So if they do attack, they'll just use them as meat shields. And that was disgusting. But at the same time, it was pretty epic. Only because I like how they didn't pull the punches here. Like, yeah, we're going to show this. We don't care what others think of us being too edgy. We're going to do it. And I was happy they did, and showed they're not pulling on their punches. So good for them. That being said, the tactics when it comes to war is keeping your enemy at bay and knowing when to bring them in. Having an enemy that's outnumbered, they're not extremely intelligent, but they're still tricky nonetheless, especially when the Goblin champions came in, it's best to keep your distance. When it comes to long range, you keep the archers in the back and the spellcasters, along with the supporters. In the mid-range, you have sword fighters, in the long range, you have the spears, and so on and so forth. This way, you can keep your enemy back, and then when they do come close, the people with the swords will come in and they will slice up the remaining foes that are coming your way. Not to mention the traps will mostly take care of most of them, but however, they will catch on to it. This place is trapped, so they'll find somewhere else to go, or they'll be careful and look out for more traps. So that's where the bows and arrows come from. Then they'll bring in shields, but they'll be tired by the time they get midway to the area. So when they're midway to the area, one, they'll still fall for more traps, or two, you'll bring in your long-range defenses. More bows and arrows along with guys with spears. Then, ones that do make it even further, that's when you bring in the newbies that'll fight off the warning enemies, the ones that are worn out. Despite them making it through all of that, the last ones, they'll be very weakened, or they'll be extremely weakened, or nothing else they can do, until the big guns come out, the Goblin champions. That is when you bring out your big guns as well. The knights, the veterans, the guards, anyone of high-ranking experience. Then you bring them out to fight off the remaining strong people. So, despite all this, it seems like Goblin Lord knew he already failed. And of course, the only one who's going to get to have their hands on Goblin Lord is, of course, the Goblin Slayer. And right at the end, him showing up like he just knew, that Goblin Lord would be running away with tail tucked between his legs. Running away like a little bitch. Anyways, it was funny seeing that. And then he shows up with this typical red, gleaming, glowing eye. Like, yeah, he's about to fuck some shit up. So yeah, we have one more episode of Goblin Slayer, and I'm excited to see how this finishes. Grand finale, the epic battle between Goblin Lord and Goblin Slayer. And we all know Goblin Slayer's going to win, but the question is how he's going to win. Is it be a technical victory? Will he have outside interference? Who can say? All we can do is wait for the next episode. I'm glad to see this back. The last episode, it's been gone for a week. And I gotta say, I did kind of miss watching Goblin Slayer for a while. So it was a recap episode that happened, and I really don't care much for recaps. Recaps, in my opinion, they just get to me. I can't stand them. But everyone else, I guess, enjoys them every now and then. I don't like it. It's like filler, and that's what it is. But still, there's no excuse. So anyways, that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, rate, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get notified. Macro Anime, signing out.